Hello, welcome back to my channel, The Star Means Hope. My name is Laura, or welcome if you haven't been here before and it's your first time popping by. Today I am going to do a VR to Kelly Bear's 54321 Tarot. And I'm just going to do the prompts as I go along rather than telling you what they all are now. So the first prompt is 5 tarot decks, and the rules where you can kind of do whatever you want with this. So it could be your 5 favourite decks, the 5 last decks you bought, the 5 first decks you had, 5 animal decks, whatever. And I've decided to do 5 versions of the RWS because I am an RWS girl. Now originally I wanted to do like 5 versions of Pixie's artwork decks, but I don't actually have 5, I only have these 2 at the moment. So I've kind of found 5 decks that I think are very, very close to Pixie's artwork. They might just have been redrawn, like so in the case of these 2, they are modern interpretations, but they're still very based on Pixie's artwork. These are kind of decks that I would class as RWS clones. Now I know loads of people have different definitions for that. Some people will say a clone is just Pixie's artwork done in different ways, so if it's just been recoloured slightly. Some people class anything based on the RWS at all as a clone, which I wouldn't necessarily class as a clone. I'd just class it as being inspired by RWS. I fall somewhere in the middle where these 2 are what I would consider the original RWS with Pixie's artwork. This one is, they're just different colourings. This one is very much Pixie's artwork just been redrawn and recoloured slightly. And the same with these 2. I feel like they still have the same backgrounds, and the people in the cards are still in the same positions. So they're still very much exactly based on Pixie's artwork. So I'm going to just show you so you can see what I mean. I've put these all back in order. So we've got, should have probably done this other way around, but whatever. This is the Pulp Girls Tarot. Got the Modern Witch. This is the Winter Weight, which I haven't actually used yet because I backed it on Indiegogo last year and I didn't get it. It only came to me in about February last year, so it was a bit too late to start using it after the Christmas season. So I've been waiting until this year to use it. That one's by Tarot Collectibles. This is the Centennial version of the original RWS. Oops, still got a card in here. And then this is the Yellow Box plaid back one. This is a vintage, well, I think it's classed as vintage. This is from 1971, and it is vintage. I bought it secondhand and all that, right? Okay. So, and you'll see what I mean about these 2, why I class them as clones as we go through. I'm probably not going to be able to go through all of them, maybe you will. But so, I consider all 5 of these to be the same artwork, just slightly redrawn, or slightly, got this on the wrong order. Just slightly redrawn, but it's still based on Pixie's artwork. So even these 2, they're all in exactly the same position, and they've got the same backgrounds, the same symbology in all of them. So that's why I class these 2 as clones. They're kind of on the border of being not a clone anymore, but I think they're all very similar. Just these 2 are much more modern. This one's obviously got a Christmas theme, and then these 2 are exactly the same. They're just recoloured. This one's a lot brighter. This one's more muted colours. And then this one's very pastel and Christmassy. This one's modern and bright, and this one's modern and bright colours as well. But I really like reading with the RWS, and I like all the kind of, I like to have maybe a more modern deck like one of these two, but I like to have the same symbology in them all, because it helps me when I'm reading. So they're all very similar, and these three are definitely based on Pamela Coleman-Smith's original artwork. Okay, you know, the lovers, they've all got an angel in the background. They've all got like an Adam and Eve kind of figure. So yes, I wanted to do this as my 5 decks. I think maybe I'll just go through the majors, because otherwise this is going to be a very long video. So you can see, and definitely in the Wheel of Fortune, they're all very much the same. I know some people don't really like that. They like decks to be based on the RWS but not the exact same artwork. I actually quite like, I find these ones easier to read, so they're my kind of go-tos if I want to just do a quick reading for myself, or if I'm reading for someone else. I usually pick like one of these two, or the originals, because I just find them easier to read, quicker, if that makes sense. This one, see, this is still very much the death card, but they've called it Jack Frost because it's the winter weight. Yeah, again, we've still got all of the angels. They've all got this triangle on them. Actually, this one doesn't, but they're all, you know, 1 foot in water, 1 foot out. The 2 cups. I'm really looking forward to using this one this year. I've been waiting nearly a whole year to actually work with the winter weight, because it, like I said, it just came a little bit too late for me to use for last winter. We've got slightly different here, but it's still the same idea. Actually, this one doesn't have the towers in it either. Actually, what is this one? We've still got the face in the moon in 4 out of the 5. I've been using the Pulp Girls a lot this summer, actually. In fact, I normally always have one of these 2 out at any one time, but I haven't. I've just been using this one in the summer, and I haven't actually used the Modern Witch for ages. The Modern Witch is my go-to, but I haven't actually used it over the summer. This one has got 2 world cards, yeah, and actually these haven't really got, I suppose this one with the holly is kind of representing the wreath here more. But yeah, they've all got the like the fabric going round the figure. So yeah, I think maybe I'll just do a couple from the, so you can see that all these are the same. It's very same idea. Let's just go do a couple more actually. See what I mean? They're all, these are, I would still class these three as clones, even though they're not the exact same artwork. They're very much, like they've probably used, like scanned all of those in and then changed them a little bit for their own. This dog. But yeah, so that is my 5 tarot decks. I'm just going to work out how to put all these back to, maybe I'll just put them to one side. Are these going to be out of frame here? Yeah. Okay. I do want to just quickly put this one back into order because I haven't used it at all yet. So that's my 5 decks, 5 tarot decks. The next prompt is 4 books, so 4 tarot books. So I have just picked some. Hang on, I've lost one. 1, 2. No, I haven't. So this is my first book. Now this is just a very, very basic standard meanings book. But it was the first one I ever got. I bought this with my first ever tarot deck, and it's the one I take around with me, and you can probably see it's very well worn, like the front cover here. Anyone who is precious about the books, don't watch this for the next minute, because this book is completely falling apart because I carried it around with me everywhere when I was first learning, and I still have it with me. If I know I'm going somewhere and someone's probably going to want a reading, this is the book I bring around with me, just because if I want to have a quick look at some keywords for each card, this is my go-to. But yeah, it is literally falling apart. This is also the book that when I've bought tarot decks for friends and it's like their first one, I usually buy them this book as well, because it's really reasonably priced. You can get it on Kindle too. I don't know what the first edition was. I don't know what the difference is, so I can't really tell you about that. It's by Lisa Chamberlain. But yeah, it's just, you know, when you look on Amazon for tarot book, it comes up. But mine has got it's got coffee all over it. The pages are falling out like I showed you. But yeah, but it's just got, I think the meanings in here are really good. And it's the one I used to learn with, so these are kind of my go-to responses, not responses, meanings for things. Now the front of the book, so this is all, from here back, it's all the meanings of the cards. In the front of the book we've got, so you've got, there's a contents page here, so you've got history and mystery, so there's different bits about tarot in general, what it is, how the deck is made, what it's made up of, so like major, minor, court cards, numerology and stuff. Then it's got how to kind of read, and then it goes into the meanings. So you've got, this is kind of talking about some of the symbols, where it came from. Yeah, this is how it's made up of, so it tells you kind of what the suits mean. There's a bit about numerology, what the court cards mean, and then this section just telling you about how to choose a deck, traditions and things. I don't think I've actually read this bit all the way through. Some spreads, so you've got 3-card spread, Celtic cross, how to kind of read, framing questions, all those kinds of stuff. Some of this is very you don't have to do it this way at all. And then you go into the meanings of the cards. Okay, so it's just really standard, but this is like my go-to one and one I carry around with me all the time. Another one which is meanings that I really love is this one. This is quite a bigger book, you can tell. This is from Sam the Cosmic Witch, who some of you might already know of, follow on Instagram. I think she did a really good job with this book. It is just meanings again, but what she's got, the production value of the book is really good. first of all, let me just show you something. If you look at these stars in the corner, this is so cute. It's like the star turns around when you flip the book. Oops, hang on, didn't do that very well. It looks like the star's turning around anyway, if you flip it properly. So yeah, it is just a meaning book, but you can, mine's got a little bit of a, I've broken it a bit here, it's ripped, but it is well loved as well. So it's broken down, so here's the full page. So you've got a full size reproduction of the cards. I believe she used the universal weight for this. So you've got a bit about the full card and some keywords, but then, and this I find it really interesting and helpful, is it kind of gives you a meaning for different scenarios. So if your question is to do with new beginnings, or career, or money, or love, or friends and family, health, higher guidance, or as an outcome for something, it gives you, you know, what a meaning for each of those things. So it's really detailed. So if you were reading for someone else and you had like a love reading, you know, you could see how each card might be interpreted for that specific kind of question, or like a career question. And I really like it. And you've got like 3 pages for each card, and including the minors as well. So the minors have the same, they have a little bit less writing here, but they still have a little paragraph about the card, keywords, and then they have 2 more full pages broken down into the same headings. I can't remember if there's anything else in here, like if there's any spreads or anything. Let me just double check. I don't think there is. I think it's just the cards. Yeah, it is just the cards. But this is a really, really good one, but not one I carry around with me because it's too big. My next book is Tarot for Change by Jessica Dorr. This book has been really helpful for me specifically just because I tend to use tarot, and why I started reading tarot for myself was for the like self-care and self-growth. And this book just frames each of the cards from that point of view instead of just being traditional meanings. So for example, here's again, we've got full-size reproductions of cards as well, so you don't even have to have a deck handy in order to read through the book. You can still see what they're talking about in here without having a deck handy, which I like. So it kind of talks about, I suppose it's kind of like the psychology behind certain cards as things. Let me see, I don't know if this is a good example. It's kind of getting you to think about how certain situations might be affecting you. So it's kind of more of a kind of therapeutic point of view about things. It will tell you a bit about how the traditional interpretation as well, but then it gives you specific scenarios based on like how you can read it for yourself. I've got some tabs in here. I don't quite know what this was tabbed for. Oh, highlight. Oh, this is when I was doing my court card study, so I've been highlighting bits. Oh yeah, this was interesting. So in the Page of Swords, I highlighted a bit here that says, oh yeah, it was talking about the clouds in the background of the card, and how they can be thoughts. So they could symbolise future thoughts, past thoughts, anxious thoughts, fearful thoughts, soothing and pleasant thoughts too. But yeah, it explains the card, but from that kind of point of view for self-help, which I like. And there's loads of quotes from different kinds of philosophers and like Buddhist quotes and things like that as well. So it's just like kind of about different spin on the tarot, but this is what I use it for a lot. So this one's been really, really helpful. And then I had a load of other tarot books that I was trying to choose from for the fourth one. I nearly brought in, I've got a couple of books which are really good for giving you, instead of traditional meanings, like more modern meanings to cards, how you could relate them to everyday modern life. But I decided instead to choose for my fourth this book, which is Will You Give Me a Reading by Jenna Matlin. And this is a really good book if you are hoping to read tarot for other people, which I'm not planning to really do, not professionally anyway, but I do like reading for friends and family, and I'm finding this really interesting. I haven't finished this book yet, but let me just give you a quick peek at maybe the contents page. So it's just really comprehensive ways to think about how you could read for other people, and it also gives you little sample readings all the way through, so you can see what she means in like in context. So it tells you like what makes a good reader, how the questioning can affect it, different techniques, loads about court cards. But it's just aimed at like things to think about if you are going to read for someone else. And I feel like it is aimed more professionally, but it's just got some really good advice in it if you're going to read for other people. And this is what I meant about, so it has sample readings as well, so you can see what they mean when what they've said in the chapter before. And it gives you like, this is what, if your querent says this, how you could respond and things like that. But I haven't really read very far through yet, and yeah, but I just find it, I'm finding it really helpful, and there's so much information in here, so I wanted to put this as my fourth one because it might help if you are someone who wants to start reading for other people and you don't really know where to start. Then this book would be a really good one for you to read. Okay, prompt 3. So I've done 5 decks, 4 books. 3 is spreads, I think it was. 3 spreads. Right, I've got my little spread book here because 2 of the ones I want to talk about are in here. So one of the spreads I wanted to talk about is, well, the Celtic Cross. It's like the most traditional tarot spread. I feel like it gets a bit of a bad rap, but I actually really like using it when I do readings for myself, even without a specific question. It works really well if you do have a specific question, but it also works, for me, I feel like it does work without, if you just want a general reading. I tend to do it like every 6 months for myself. And the one I like to use is Lisa Pepez's version of the Celtic Cross. This is the one that I use. So I've printed this out, but this is by Lisa Pepez, which is slightly different to, well, there's so many different interpretations of the Celtic Cross. There's so many different ones. But I feel like this one works really, really well for like a general reading if you don't have a particular question in mind. And I've used it for myself, and I have used this for friends as well, if they just wanted a general reading. So yeah, so this particular version of the Celtic Cross spread is one I wanted to highlight. It's one of my favourites. The other one is also in here, let me find it. I usually, nearly every week, do a weekly reading, and I usually use this one, which is by You Lucky Devil Tarot, who I follow on Instagram. Now this specific week ahead spread is the one I tend to go to. I have got a few that I go to, but this is the one I use more often than not, because I just really like it. So it's what to focus on, what to ignore, greatest potential, obstacles to overcome, blessings to celebrate, and then advice for the week. So yeah, about 9 times out of 10 when I do a weekend spread, it's this spread. So I really like this. And then the last spread I wanted to talk about is one I've made myself, which I don't have in this book. I'm going to I'll put a picture up here. So it's my card of the year spread, like check-in spread. So at the beginning of the year I will pull a card for my year. This year for me it's been the sun. It's my card of the year. So it's just some prompts that I came up with to help me check in. So I do a quarterly check-in with my card of the year to see how it's going working with it. And so I've done 2 so far. So one of the first prompt is the lessons that I've learned from my card of the year so far, the impact that lesson has had, any challenges that I faced with working with my card of the year, and then the last prompt is next steps or advice when you're moving forward, still working with the card of the year. So it's just I've been finding it really helpful as a check-in. I've had some feedback from other people saying it's been helpful for them as well. So yeah, so they are my 3 spreads. Prompt for number 2 was 2 tarot habits or tarot paraphernalia. So I'm going to do one of each. So my tarot habits, let me find a deck. I have a specific kind of, I suppose it's like a bit of a ritual when it comes to pulling cards. So I like to riffle shuffle. I riffle shuffle 3 times. So I will riffle 3 times. So 1, 2, oops, 3. If it's a new deck or if it's just been put into order, I tend to do it 7 times first. I don't know why. I don't know why 7. I do it 7 times, but any other time, if it's already shuffled up and I'm picking it up to do a reading, I'll do it 3 times. So I do that 3 times. Then I overhand shuffle a few times, usually another 3 or 4. Actually, I think I do it for 5. I think I do it 5 times. That's 4, 5. Oops. And then I will cut once. I used to cut into 3 piles, but I would always go with the first cut, so I just stopped doing it 3 times. So I'll cut it where I feel, and then I'll pull my cards from there. So I didn't shuffle it very well. So yeah, so riffle shuffle 3 times, overhand 5 times, cut once, and then I pull my cards from there. Again, it's not every single time that I do a reading for myself or anyone else I'll do that. If I read for other people, I get them to cut, but I do everything else. Sometimes I'll spread them out and pull cards, but I like to, it feels right if I do it the way that I've just explained. I don't know why, but that's just how I like to do it. So that's my tarot habit. And then paraphernalia, I thought I would talk about cloths. So I make my own cloths, and I'm a crochet, I crochet. So most of my cloths are crocheted. I like to have tarot cloths down. If I take a deck out with me, I usually have a cloth in my bag. It might not be a crochet one because they're a bit thick. I have a couple of scarves that I use as tarot cloths. Even this background, in case you're interested, is actually an old t-shirt, an old tie-dye t-shirt that I use as my background because I really like it, because it's not too busy. It doesn't take away from cards when I'm showing it, so that's why I like this as my background. When I do challenges on Instagram, I like to have a different background to my everyday card pulls. So I usually use one of these cloths as a background on my Instagram posts. I have started putting them in my videos sometimes as well, like here. I'll have this as my background, but I'll still have a cloth on the top. So I've got like this one. you've seen this one before in videos. So I've got like a circular one. The crochet ones I like making, so I just keep doing them and then I use them in videos. This one is my favourite. I've just made another one that's the same as this but with more sort of autumnal colours, and I've made it look like sunflowers. I just finished this one the other day. I've done something to the border. I've made it too, I've added something in too much somewhere. It's gone all frilly, but whatever. So this is kind of my autumnal one. I'm doing a zigzag one at the moment as well that's the same colours. But yeah, so I like having a background. I like having a tarot cloth. That's for my tarot paraphernalia. And then the last prompt was either one piece of tarot advice or a card you wish to embody and why. So I am going to find one of the cards here, but I'm going to go with a card I wish to embody and why, if I can find her. It's the Queen of Wands. Hang on, this is still in order, so let me see if I can find the Queen of Wands. There she is. I like this one in particular from the Pulp Girls Tarot. So the Queen of Wands, for lots of reasons. I like the sunflowers. That's one of my favourite flowers, and sunflowers are usually in that card. I like how there's usually a cat in the card. I am a cat person. I'm a Leo as well, so you know, wands are fire suit. But yeah, I just really like the Queen of Wands as a card because she's confident and bold, and I often feel like I hide that part of myself, or I don't have the confidence to show that side of myself, my Leo side, and I'm really trying to embrace that more this year. And like I said earlier, the Sun is my card of the year this year, and I feel like the Sun and the Queen of Wands are actually quite similar cards. So I've been really working with that energy this year and trying to be more confident and like standing up for myself, and I'm really just trying to embody more Queen of Wands energy. So yeah, so that's my card that I wish to embody and why. So yeah, so that's my VR to 54321 tarot, which I think is just such a fun tag. I've really enjoyed doing this one. So thank you, Kelly Bear. I'm not going to tag other people because most of the people that I was going to tag have already done a VR to this anyway. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I have been watching a lot of these. I've been finding it really interesting to see which, specifically for the 5 decks, what people are choosing to do. So yeah, so I'm still watching some of those now at the moment. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this tag. If you liked my version, please like it, and I am going to be doing another video soon. What I was originally going to do for my 5 decks at the beginning was like autumnal Halloween type decks, but I'm going to do a separate video for that, I've decided, so that's why I didn't do it for this. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Like this video if you want, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.